have to jump in because this was huge. This movie, when they first announced Saturday Night, I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be good, right? Because there were so many stories over the years of what was going on behind the scenes on Saturday Night. You know, the sometimes not so nice stuff and the heckness, like even getting. So the idea that they were going to tell this story of the hours leading up to the opening night, I just found extremely fascinating. So I got super excited about it. Are you a fan of Saturday Night, first of all? And is that why you were like, oh, I got to audition for this? Or how did the audition come about?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm definitely a fan of Saturday Night. I think anybody who's comedy adjacent, who does comedy, like, it's almost kind of a necessity of the job is like, it's so many like comedy institutions like the UCB, the People's Improv Theater, like,
Yeah.
like the BCC, they kind of teach almost like all of them offer classes of like, oh, you got the SNL like tape, like we'll coach you, they offer like SNL class coaching and things like that. That's considered like part of the model.
Okay.
Definitely is like people come in and like uh that's the SNL model. That's considered like the peak of, I
Right.
don't know, of the institution. But um I mean, I wish I had the type of career where I can be like, I definitely want to audition for that and just like get the audition. But no, I just like any other thing, my representation, my manager sent me the audition. It was originally titled Wolverines. This was like early last year. It was just for a tape.
Yep.
And it was for the role of Valri, which I ultimately ended up playing. And it was yeah, I mean it was very conventional. I sent in a tape and like, I don't know, a week or so later they wanted me in for a callback, and it was an in-person callback in New York, which is like rare. A lot of times it's like, especially for something of this caliber, it's like multiple,
Right. Right.
it's like two Zoom callbacks and then like a maybe an in-person with the producer if you're lucky, like but no, this was like, come on in and audition. And at the casting office, and Jason was there in the audition room.
Oh.
And yeah, it was crazy. Like they were also auditioning like literally like Anna Klumsky was like two people before me.
Oh,
Like they
wow.
were
Wow.
auditioning like, like pretty well-known people. In addition, they were just like, anybody.
Yeah.
I'm sure he was just like in town and they wanted to do it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I did the sides. It was like one scene. I did the scene. I did it again, and then he was like, "Thanks so much." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, heard, absolutely." I very much thought, I was like, whatever. Like they don't know, they don't want me. Like they don't want, this is a big, huge thing. This is like a historic project, This is like a big caliber thing.
Yeah.
I left the room actually feeling very good about what I had done. I was like, look, because in the room I was like, there's no way I'm getting this. And so I just kind of,
Just
I was
went.
very relaxed, weirdly. I was like,
Yeah.
kind of chill. Because I was like, this is a cool opportunity that will never happen to me. Um, so yeah, so I was very relaxed, very chill, and then I left the room, and weirdly, like, this doesn't happen all the time. It's very rare that this happens, where I left the room and I was like, actually, I feel pretty good about what I did.
Yeah.
I don't want to kill myself after that. Actually, that feels pretty good. I could do that again. And yeah, and then I didn't hear anything for months and months and months.
Of course.
Well, it was mainly because, and I fully thought I hadn't gotten the job because it was supposed to shoot last September, but then the
Right.
strike
Strikes
happened.
happen. Yeah.
And so they had to stop all pre-production and casting work. Like literally the whole thing came to a halt, and September rolled through, and I was like, well, maybe they shot it, probably not, who knows. And then that December, literally on my birthday, I got an email that wasn't a booking yet, but casting was like, "Are you available?" And I was like, "Yes."
That's great birthday
Oh,
present. It's like, yes, yes.
yes, I'm available. I'll
Yeah.
quit my job. I'll dye my hair. I don't know, whatever you need me to do. And then yeah, like that February, I got the call that that they booked me. I didn't have to come back in. I don't know.
Wow. Wow. I love hearing the process, and because it's always different. It's always a great story.
Always.
Um
Yeah.
so how did you approach it? Did you do a lot of research on Valerie, or so how did you go into that approach on, okay, this is who I'm
Yeah.
playing? Did you have to Google her and go, who is that? Or did you
Yeah.
know, or yeah, yeah. So,
I mean, for the audition, there was like backstory on who Valerie is. Valri Bromfield, wonderful comedian. I never met her before the filming. And then it wasn't until actually after it came out that she found my email and emailed me.
oh,
She is no longer in the industry. She's since retired. She like quit the industry in the early 2000s, and went back and got her psychology degree, and then taught at a university for many years, had her own private practice.
wow.
Uh, and then I think is, yeah, now retired, and we've been emailing back and forth,
How
which is so
awesome is that, right?
it's so cool. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I think it's also interesting that we have like, I don't know, like a little bit of in common of like the psychology slash comedy thing,
Yeah.
which I had no idea before I even during the audition. I didn't know that she had also like become a psychologist. Um, but yeah, in the 70s, she was well known in that, like in the comedy community. She was on like, she helped write and she performed on like the Lily Tomlin specials. Which Lorne also produced. So she was like good friends with Lorne. She and Dan Aykroyd were comedy partners. They were a writer duo. They
Yep.
came up together, all through like Canada, and like one of the founding members of the Groundlings, I think it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, she was up there. Yeah, so she's like very important to that community. She and Lorraine Newman are still friends. They still call each other, you know.
Amazing.
Uh, yeah, so it's very cool. She's a pillar of the community. It was like it's unbelievable that I even got to play her. I don't look anything like her. Um, but for the audition, at the top of the scene, you hear like a little bit of her set that she ultimately does on the pilot episode of SNL, which I think is worth watching. It's worth watching the whole pilot just to see
Oh,
like
for sure.
really how insane it is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wild. There's like not only there's not one but like two musical guests. Andy Kaufman does technically a musical set. They
Yep.
introduced him as a musical guest even though he wasn't. Um, the iconic Mighty Mouse thing. That's
Yes.
from the
Yeah.
pilot episode. And then yeah, so there was like the Not Ready for Primetime Players, which was the main cast, and then he brought on Andy, Valerie, and Billy Crystal to be featured players to do like a set, in between sketches. And Valerie made it on the show for 2 minutes,
Yep.
two whole
Yep.
minutes, and she does a set of characters, and that was like part of the set was part of the audition, which was later cut from the movie. And then there was just truly like 7 lines, I think, in that whole scene. But yeah, that was but yeah, before the audition, I had not heard of her. And the main thing I worked on for the audition was just her set.
Hmm.
And then once I booked it, that's when I started kind of researching into who she really was. Um, and it's awesome. She's so cool. She's one of those like more niche players. Like she obviously never made it super big.
Right. Right.
But I also don't think that she was ever really interested in fame or, being like prolific or anything like that. I think she always really liked, doing the writing stuff and like the behind the camera stuff, although she was an incredible performer. Yeah, she's worth a Google.
Yeah.
If
No doubt.